We gotta start this episode off with the song, cause Carlos talking to Royce Reed, Carlos talking about BravoCon, but where were you, girl? Where were you? I was in there shutting it down, asking questions, popping it off with Chris. Where were you? They spent it. Do you know about own shows, Bronx? Do you know anything about an own show? You don't? That's because Carlos isn't promoting them. But you know about Bravo, don't you? You know all about Bravo. Nene said, Carlos, when you gonna have kids? Carlos's children could never be as cute as my Bronx. And Carlos don't need no kids. Imagine him promoting his kids. He gonna be too worried about Bravo to look after them children. Honey, he can't look after his own reality shows. I gotta cover him. But let me get to these red-headed children that he didn't birth, but I have to nourish. Child, so we open with Marceau talking about you got what you got because we was friends with your family and it could be taken away from you. Girl, please, you ain't got a heaven or a hell to put nobody up in. He said God don't play and I don't play either. You sure played with your marriage to Mel. You played with that. You played with being a father to your chitlins. You played with that. You played with being a decent businessman. You played with that. So I don't know, you a player to me. But now Tisha got a hair care line with her kids. Child, that'll make as much money as Kids Force. Kids Force. But now Marceau has to come in and mansplain. Marceau, you idiot. They're not ready for real business. They're kids and they need to take a damn break. Tisha's actually right on this one. Mealy-mouthed and all. Marceau said you can't be all about the money if you're in business. What world do you live in? This YouTube channel, it's all about the money. If people ain't watching the show gotta go. I might be coming back to, not Empire, but what's the other one? Ghost Part 2. But y'all wasn't watching that too tough. Therefore, it had to go. We might bring it back if we can get them views up. I'm sorry. Stormy called Marceau a bitch because Marceau was acting like a bitch, running up trying to get last-minute payments because he can't get his business under control. He ain't shit, and it came to the surface. Fuck him. Don't want to be called a bitch? Don't act like a bitch, bitch. So apparently, Mealy-Mouth Tisha went and had drinks with Stormy, and Stormy was like, I'm not going to call your bitch-ass husband a bitch no more, but what can you do to stop him from acting like a bitch? Nothing, because Tisha can't stop her mama from steamrolling over her. But now we got Andrea, Kimmy friend, catching up with her. And she gone complaining about her sorry husband, Maurice. I hope she does. She keep all her complaints in. I used to like him, but he's just awful. I think you got with him because you wanted to raise another child. And monster. So she's saying, yeah, Maurice told me my pussy was mind over matter. Meanwhile, I'm healing from breast cancer. So my nipples is null and void, but he telling me it's mind over matter. Maurice, shut up. This heifer done raised your whole child. You can't wait 10 minutes for a cup of puss? Now, I can understand a doctor giving you an antidepressant because you have cancer, because that's gonna depress any human, genderless. That's gonna get to any human. You might need a little boost. Oh, her friend brought her a pussy training kit. They have the same thing for men for the anus. I thought she was gonna give her some weed gummies. So they gonna try to go to sex therapy to get back on the good bus. But over with Mealy-Mouth Tisha and Ugly Marceau, they're promoting a casino night at Black. Oh, you trying to get Tisha to be sexy? Neither one of you can be sexy. How you gonna ask her for what you can't give? You can give homely, Marceau. Why don't you do that? Oh, Lord, now they got a foundation. Y'all living in an apartment, supposedly building Scott Manor, trying to redo your rental property, but y'all got a foundation. Why don't you help yourselves? Foundation. There's a crack in it. Oh, goodness, they are terrible speakers. This ad drop's taking forever. But now Ugly Marceau's gonna check on Worthless Martell. So now Martell going on about how Mel could speak and they were fixtures in the community. Well, y'all ain't together no more. Your fixtures is broken. But now Fletcher with the daycare outside for some reason. I'm with Martell. I thought the household too. But Martell still ain't leaving until he finds a place to go. Why is that everyone's responsibility but your own? But now Marceau's going on, well, I don't want to be somebody who has a platform teaching those who don't have a platform when a platform is what makes our businesses successful. According to the lawsuits, your businesses ain't successful. Now Martell's trying to defend Mel. But why didn't you defend her against coleslaw? Why didn't you defend your marriage against infidelity? But now you want to defend her against ugly Marceau. Big ugly Marceau. I mean, that face looks like a foot. So Marceau says, I want people to be able to talk about their failures in business too. Well, Marceau's failure in business is himself. He's the charade of business. Oh, he said, I'm open to talk about my bankruptcy. Martell said, you ain't talking about your bankruptcy till I talked about my bankruptcy. You hid your bankruptcy behind mine. You're both bankrupt and you both need your women to actually support your businesses to get those female and minority contracts. God, when Martell says you talking just to hear yourself and you full of shit, that's sad, but it's true. But now it's big ugly Marceau saying, this is why I wouldn't allow you to speak on that stage. Oh, God. So this is how I wake up. We wake up with a morning belly rub, and you can see he's very, very into his morning belly rub. He's got his paws just so to give full belly access. I done poured your food for you, but you still have to get your morning belly. This really does help get the dopamine producing in the morning. And a morning doggy smile with a wry eye. They love a wry eye. All right, let's get back to the show. It was so boring, I had to take a nap midway through. Okay, if you want to sit behind me, you can sit behind me, but your food over there. But we get back from commercial break, and Marceau is still asking Martell about his failures in business. Well, we've already seen his failures in relationships. Oh, God, you think people wanted to be you while you were married, Martell? No one wants to be the obvious cheating husband. Marceau is like, I don't know what history you're trying to relive, Martell, but general contracting ain't something you brought us in. We were doing property preservation. Marceau thought we were just getting into business. Not that this was a gift. He said Scolt was negative because it was bad business. Martell's telling him put his pride aside. Marceau says, well, put your accuracy aside because you can't recall things. Marceau like, child, you can borrow money from me. Now that I believe. But then again, Marceau, you didn't remember that you hadn't asked Stormy for her booth rent and you hadn't told her she had booth rent. So both of you have messy memories. So finally, the real estate friend gets them to agree to disagree, but that conversation was pointless. Oh, God, but now we got Messy Mel and Klepto Kiki. Mel, you ain't shit for this because you know you don't like Kiki and this is a way for you to tug at Tisha. But Mel fills Klepto Kiki in on the town hall meeting and the tension between Stormy and ugly Marceau. Kiki said, well, Marceau, before he had a little taste of money, was different. He was still a feces, he just couldn't afford it. Girl, Kiki bring up Marceau having a threesome. Now, come on, I can see one woman being sad and desperate enough to give him a couple puss, but two women at once wanted that big ugly, wanted that raisin face, wanted that Mississippi prune. I'm sorry, Kiki. You flying and you lying. Well, that was the shit, and I'ma see you soon for something.